Relax. The New York Yankees are fine. The Boston Red Sox? Maybe not. Let's talk about it.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into MLB Game Night, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That is my friend Steve Lennox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Follow him on X at Lennox on Baseball. Steve, a lot to get to today. Sonny Gray went the distance for the Cardinals. The Astros won their fifth in a row. The Tigers lost only the second home series opener of the season for them. But before we do all that, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. I teased it in the cold open, Steve. I want to start with the New York Yankees. They're hosting the Athletics in the Bronx. They win game one 3-0. And somebody we don't get to hear from a ton. Here's Stacey Gotsulias of Locked On Yankees with her thoughts on how Will Warren did, getting the start, and the win overall for New York.
It wasn't pretty, but the Yankees got the job done and beat the Athletics on Friday night at Yankee Stadium. I'm Stacey Gotsulias of Locked On Yankees, and Will Warren ran into some trouble early in the game, and because of that, he was only able to finish through 5. Which, sometimes that happens from time to time. I will say this. He had 7 strikeouts in the game. He's now up to 97 on the season, and he leads all rookies in strikeouts. Now, if you watched Will Warren in 2024, and I told you this guy's going to have 97 strikeouts as of June 27th, you would have looked at me like I had 3 heads, because you wouldn't have believed it. And if you told me that at the beginning of this season, I wouldn't have believed it. But he has turned things around. He's becoming a solid pitcher for the Yankees. On the offensive side, they really only needed Jazz Chisholm's home run. A's couldn't score anything. Yankees win 3-0. So we'll have everything you need to know about this game and the rest of the series on Monday's show.
Steve, how encouraging is it to see when a rookie has a situation like Warren did in this one? 36 pitches in the first inning, and he rebounds, makes it through 5, and just never gives up those runs despite having to do all that extra work.
Yeah, combines with the bullpen on the shutout, but good victory for the Yankees in the opener as you've got the rookie on the mound. But yeah, every start he can go out there and provide, not a quality start in terms of not going 6 innings, throwing the 36 pitches in the first inning, but battled, may not have had his best stuff early on. But coaxed through the first 5 innings, then you got the bullpen the rest of the way. So it's a positive sign for him. As Stacey said, you wouldn't have thought about these numbers last year or this year with Will Warren, and he's opening up some eyes.
He absolutely is. And it helps with a rotation that obviously lost so much between Max Fried now, Carlos Rodon, and Will Warren, plus Clark Schmidt, who I believe goes tomorrow against JP Sears. Right. You feel pretty good about it. Flip side, not feeling good. Oakland A's. You're going to do it once a week. The A's have lost 5 out of 6. Things are a little bit grim for the A's right now. Here's our friend Booney from Locked On A's with his thoughts on this one.
A's in New York tonight was like one of those little league games where every batter is either a walk or a strikeout. This is Booney from Locked On A's, and the best part about tonight's game was that it ended. The two teams combined for 18 strikeouts, 9 walks, and a whopping 7 hits, highlighted by a Jazz Chisholm solo home run in the second inning. But it was plenty as the Yankees beat the A's 3-0, stretching the A's scoreless inning streak to 24. The good news for the A's is that the Tampa Bay Devil Rays lost to the Baltimore Orioles tonight, which drops the A's magic number to 77 to clinch a wild card spot in the American League. I refuse to have my offseason begin in June.
I don't feel the Devil Rays.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't feel as bad about saying Oakland A's now that he said Devil Rays. That was like a decade ago. I admire the positivity from Booney. It is tough right now for the A's. Again, they've lost 5 out of 6. They had a huge losing streak that they just broke somewhat recently. Things are not great for the A's right now, despite that young, talented offense they have.
Right. And again, trial and error, see how the different lineups work for Marcotte, and also, a lot of downs right now. But again, I think this year, and again, there's several teams, the A's being one of them. You're identifying what your future is. And I think you're starting to really come up with, hey, these guys are talented. They're going to take their lumps, but in a couple of years, they're going to learn from this. And again, you always have to preface that by saying they got a long way to go to get to Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I think the pitching is going to have to do more. Like, they held Aaron Judge to 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but the pitching has to do more. That's usually the issue for the A's. Speaking of pitching being an issue, Phillies beat my Braves 13-0 in a game that was delayed over 2 hours before its start. Here's Connor Thomas from Locked On Phillies with their side of the victory.
Well, if you were wondering where the offense was for the Philadelphia Phillies the last couple of games, apparently it was in Atlanta. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, and the Phils scored 13 in their first game in Atlanta as they shut out the Braves. Of course they did. Of course they went 3 games in Houston, scoring 1 total run, and then come out and hang it on the Atlanta Braves. I mean, long rain delay doesn't matter. And what do you do with this team? Like, I'm as perplexed as you guys are. I can't make heads or tails of the ups and downs of this baseball team, but I'm going to enjoy games like this. You can't get mad at a 13-0 performance. They were smoking the ball. A couple of guys go yard. Otto Kemp, his first major league homer. And the Phillies they got some work out of the pen with the rain delay. It was just a perfect game for the Phillies tonight. And hopefully they'll continue this throughout the series. We'll talk on Monday on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
It really feels like the big decision here, and I want to get your opinion on this, is, again, the game went to rain delay right before it was supposed to start. Warm-ups were done. The Phillies took prospect Mick Abel, and they shut him down. They went to a bullpen game. The Atlanta Braves kept Bryce Elder, and over 2 hours and 19 minutes after it was supposed to start, he finally took the mound. He got shelled for 10 runs, 9 earned on 8 hits and 4 walks in 2 innings. I had the note here. It is the 3rd time a Braves pitcher, and apparently in that franchise's history, has given up 9 or more runs in 2 innings or less.
Yeah, I think it speaks to where the Braves are at pitching wise right now. Sale recently going on the IL, bullpen usage, and Elder's the guy who's got to do it. I in that 2 hour plus, there had to be numerous conversations as to, hey, we're looking to use you, do what you need to do. You can't go in the cold spot. You can't be in the air conditioned clubhouse. He had to be moving around in those 2 hours just to stay, get the heartbeat going and things like that. But you don't wish that on anybody. And the way the injuries are these days, it's tough. But Bryce Elder had to do it. I'm curious to the comments tomorrow to read as to Snicker and even Elder as to the decision making there.
Yeah, it was just odd decision to me to start him, especially when you saw the Phillies pull their guy back. But the good news for Atlanta, Matt Olson's single in the 5th extended his on-base streak to 28 games. I believe that is the longest active streak in MLB right now, 28 games. That's nice. Jesus Luzardo versus Spencer Schwellenbach tomorrow. Phillies going for the series win, Atlanta going to tie it up. Talking about offensive explosions, Rays at Orioles, 22-8 by Baltimore. 22 runs on 21 hits. They had... I think it was 4 different innings with crooked numbers. 20 of the 22 came against the Rays pitching staff. The last 2 came against position players, but 14 extra base hits. The wildest stat to me, you have all kind of great stats in our run. The wildest stat from this game to me, Ramon Urias didn't even start in this game. And he got 3 hits, 3 runs, and 2 RBI over the course of this one.
Just grab a bat and run to the plate and swing. The Rays had a big lead in this one. They were up 6-0. And, and they're coming off a series. Yeah, it's the Royals offense, but we've sort of been looking for this from the Orioles. Now, 22 runs total in one game? No, but their offense is better. And with their pitching the way it is, they're going to have to outslug teams. And they certainly did that against the Rays on Friday night in the opener. And the Rays now, a game and a half behind the Yankees in the East.
Yeah, they lost some ground. Yankees gained some ground there. A team that, while this stat that I saw, I have a friend who covers the Royals. The Kansas City Royals hosted the Dodgers for game 1 tonight. They have not won a home game in the month of June. LA extended that streak, 5-4 victory for the Dodgers. Shohei led off with a homer, 29th of the year. It's his 8th leadoff home run of the season. Also had a RBI triple in this one. So he did the hard parts of getting a cycle. Part of me wonders what Shohei Ohtani would look like in the home run derby. I think it'd be fun to watch him in the home. They'll never do it. But wouldn't that be fantastic?
It would. I cringed when I saw Cal Raleigh has announced that he'll be in the home run hitting contest. Very few participate in the dunk contest anymore in February for the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah,
I don't like it anymore because these guys slow down. I do think there's cause.
He's a catcher. He's going to slow down anyway.
He's going to slow down anyway, right? Yeah, but in Atlanta, what it's going to be in a couple of weeks that night, I love it. I watch it. My wife has actually watched it with me the last couple of years with all the different camera angles and all the different graphics and all the, exploding bats or whatever. But Ohtani and Raleigh for me right now, politely decline. But Raleigh's going to be a part of it.
I get it. All right, real quick, panic level on Kansas City. They've lost 6 in a row. They've won 11 straight at home. And in this 6-game losing streak, they've scored 8 total runs. Panic level 1 through 10, go.
I think they should start taking some phone calls.
Ooh.
I do. Lugo goes, I believe, in game 2 on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I think it's time
versus Ohtani as an opener.
Yeah, as the opener. But Salvi Perez, I think there's no bats in that lineup you're going to trade for. But Lugo, Waka, Ursig out of the bullpen, who they picked up, was it last year, the year before? Last year. Those guys might have some value on the market. So
find a dang outfielder, man.
But no one's going to, the Red Sox, the Royals, there are so many teams looking for a bat. Nobody's going to give them up right now. It's another 30 days before, it's a month before we see that at the deadline, I think.
Yeah. A team that surprisingly does not need a pitcher is the St. Louis Cardinals, because they got amazing performance from Sonny Gray. We'll get to that next right here on MLB Game Night. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there has never been a better time to get in on the action, because FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game, both before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, you have more ways than ever to play smart and win big in the finals. What player do you think is going to show up in the biggest moments? And how could tracking their trends help you build the next bet? You could combine live prop bets mid-game based on how the action is unfolding. So if you are new to FanDuel, it is the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. That's what I get for not double checking the ad that I uploaded when we get going here. Okay, Cardinals at Guardians. Sonny Gray, complete game one-hitter. Here is fellow game night host JD Haffren with his thoughts on what the veteran Gray was able to do tonight.
Sonny Gray spins a masterpiece as the Cardinals shut out the Cleveland Guardians. Hey, it's JD from Locked on Cardinals. Sonny Gray was locked in tonight. That's an understatement. This guy was unbelievable, absolutely shoved on Friday night. Complete game shutout on 89 pitches. He gives up 1 hit. He strikes out 11. You realize how hard that is to do, to strike out 11 batters and still throw a Maddox where you get a complete game shutout and throw less than 100 pitches? Insane. This is the fewest in a Maddox for the Cardinals since Adam Wainwright pulled one off with 88 pitches back in 2021 against the Pirates. Sonny was just special tonight. And it didn't hurt that the Cleveland Guardians were very aggressive in the counts. They were swinging at the first pitch a lot. I think it was 6 one-pitch outs is what they ended up getting tonight. So that obviously helped the cause. But Sonny Gray was incredible. His sweeper was incredible. Offensively, they get home runs from Pedro Pajes and Alec Burleson. Arenado knocks in a couple. Just a phenomenal night for the Cardinals coming off those 2 losses against the Cubs. They'll try to keep the momentum going on Saturday in Cleveland. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
89 pitches in a Maddox with 11 strikeouts. What blows my mind is it's not even the most strikeouts in a Maddox. Scooble had 13 last month when he did it. But just for Sonny Gray, that is phenomenal. I did not know he had that in him. I need to put some more respect on his name. 7th career complete game, 4th shutout, but first time since 2015. 10 years apart. Steve Lennox.
That was eye-opening. I love that one.
Great stat by you. Good find.
Nolan Jones had a 2-out single in the 5th inning. So he retired 14 in a row to start, and then the final 13. And as JD said, Guardians going up there aggressive, a lot of early contact, and Jose Ramirez also out of the lineup. But just tip your cap to Sonny Gray. Outstanding.
Yeah, I mean,
and that is we're going to get into it, but that's the pitching performance of the night, right? I mean, he went the distance.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you go a complete game, it doesn't matter how many runs you give up. A complete game in this modern MLB, that's probably the performance of the night. But to do it with one hit.
If Nick Martinez was able to complete and do what he had going on in the 9th inning, Sonny Gray would have taken a backseat, right?
That is where we're going next. Yes. Padres at Reds. Reds win this one 8-1. And as Steve alluded to, Nick Martinez was the story here. Here is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds about how close they came to setting to, I think that would have been the second one of the year.
The Cincinnati Reds started off the series with the Padres on the right foot. Couple of great performances by Nick Martinez and Spencer Steer. Get the Big Red Machine weekend started off right. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And yeah, the Reds are celebrating a history tonight, but the present day is looking pretty good too, as Nick Martinez is 3 outs away from a no-hit bid, ends up giving up a hit there in the top of the 9th inning. But ultimately, the Reds won 8-1. Because of the bat of Spencer Steer and the amazing pitching performance from Nick Martinez. But Spencer Steer with 3 home runs had a shot at a 4th, ended up striking out in his 4th at bat. But you love to see him breaking out. First 3 home run performance by a Reds player since 2021. And ultimately, this Reds team seems to feel like it's starting to hit its stride a little bit. And it's doing it in the toughest part of this schedule. Still 2 more games to play against the Padres this weekend, hoping for another series victory. But the Reds have been getting a lot of good series wins here recently. Hopefully they can continue that this weekend.
What's impressive to me, they do this off of Dylan Cease. And so now they've got Andrew Abbott versus Randy Vasquez tomorrow. Abbott has an ERA under 2. Like, this is how you want to do these series. You beat their best pitcher, then you get your best pitcher versus somebody else, and all of a sudden you can be in line for a sweep.
Yeah, and I think the theme with the Reds, and Jeff hit on it, they're starting to play winning baseball, and they're starting to put everything together. There is offense here. Steer's not going to go out and hit 3 home runs every single game, but there's offense here, and this pitching has really come along. They've got some I'm betting on their future because, just keep these guys healthy, bubble wrap, whatever you need to do. Just keep them healthy because they've got a lot of young, talented pitchers. And it's Nick Martinez is the veteran of this group, and he goes out there 8 no-hit innings. They give up the run in the 9th inning on a bases-loaded walk, but they are able to take care of it. Diaz had the only base hit, a double, 2nd and 3rd situation. And I love the fact that, hey, the Reds allowed him to take the mound in the 9th inning. Hey, here's the baseball. Let's see if you can do it. We know what's going to happen. You give up a base hit, you're gone. You're done.
But he had a chance. That's all you can really ask for. Although Atlanta gave Chris Sale a chance, and he hurt himself on defense in the 9th, and they lost him. So what's wild to me, they're doing all of this without Hunter Green and Rhett Lauder. And they could get both those guys back later in the year, possibly. Strained groin, strained forearm, those 2 injuries there. Okay, Twins at Tigers. I alluded to this earlier, but the Twins winning the opener 4-1. It's their 3rd straight win. But I think the bigger thing here, this is the 2nd time all season that the Tigers have lost a series opener at home, and it's halfway through the year. Here's Brandon Warren of Locked On Twins about the Minnesota victory.
David Festa was at his besta, and the buck truck and the bullpen did the resta as the Twins moved closer to 500 with a 4-1 win in Detroit over the Tigers on Friday night. This is Brandon Warren with your Locked On Twins post-game minute. Festa was fantastic, tossing 5 2/3 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts and just a pair of hits allowed before handing the game over to Danny Coulomb, Louis Varland, Griffin Jax, and Jawan Duran. Jax did hit a little bit of a bumpy spot in the 8th, but got Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson to strike out swinging and strand a pair in scoring position before Duran set him down in order in the 9th. Byron Buxton hit a 425-foot homer. That's the second longest he's ever hit at Comerica. In the 5th inning off former Twins farmhand Sawyer Gibson Long, and Brooks Lee was the only Twin with multiple hits on the night. He keeps on rolling since May 28th, almost a month now. He's hitting .350 with an .885 OPS in 104 plate appearances. Fun fact, Buxton's home run was his 8th of the month. Only once has he hit more in a month, and that's when he hit 9 in June of 2022. So a couple more games left this month to keep an eye on. Up next, Twins send Bailey Ober to the mound against Casey Mize in Game 2 of the series. It's Saturday afternoon. It's 12:10 p.m., and we'll have full coverage. This is Locked On Twins.
That's a fantastic pitching matchup, by the way. Casey Mize and Bailey Ober. That's fun.
And then Scooble on Sunday.
Yeah, we've talked about that. It's like you get there at school at the end of the series. It's so fantastic. I'm happy for Byron Buxton that he's finally healthy. He's able to stay healthy, and he's able to be the guy that we thought he was. He's not stealing as many bases, if I remember correctly. But like other than that, he's the dude that we all knew that he still had in there. And Brooks Lee is on rehab right now, so he could potentially get there as well. We'll see if he can make it back to join them or not. Mets at Pirates. Pirates won this one 9-1. So between the Phillies win, the Mets loss, just like we saw the AL East shuffled, the NL East shuffles. Mets are now a half game behind the Phillies. What's wild to me, the Pirates are a 500 team at home. They're 21-21 at home, which means my math is not good, but they are 12 and 29 on the road, which is wild. But Mitch Keller gets the win in this one. Solo homer to Juan Soto, who's just nuclear in the month of June. But outside of that, they really kind of handled this. Here's what I'm happy about. That's Mitch Keller's first win since March 28th. 15 consecutive winless starts before this one.
Yeah, and he's had opportunities during that streak to win some games. Doesn't always get the run support like Paul Skeens. But you know, 2-10 is 2-10. That's, you know, you don't like looking up that on the scoreboard or in the newspaper or online or wherever you get your information. 2-10 is 2-10. But hey, he's a guy, you're hearing his name a lot, to be moved before the deadline. Bednar and Keller, those are two pitchers that Ben Cherington's getting calls on right now.
Probably Andrew Heaney too. He's on a 1-year deal, veteran lefty. So there's 3 guys they could move and get some pieces for. All right, final game of this segment here. Blue Jays at Red Sox. 9-0 win by Toronto. They had 16 hits. They're now 6-2 versus Boston this year. Your Red Sox only had 4 hits. What happened here? Just like kind of real quick, what was the issue for Boston in this one?
Kikuchi and the Angels on Wednesday and Jose Barrios. I don't take anything away from either one of those pitchers, but they're making them look like future Hall of Famers. Barrios was terrific, 7 scoreless. The Red Sox had the leadoff man on base 3 times in this game, twice against Barrios. All 3 times they hit into double plays. You mentioned, you know, the bats aren't there. And I said it during my Locked On Red Sox postcast, Lindsay. If the Reds, you know, hey, there's no more Rafael Devers. If the Red Sox want to win games right now, they've got to look at the Jays and say, hey, we should be hitting. You know, we should be moving the line. 16 hits, you're not going to do that every day. But this lineup, they're coming around. And the Blue Jays right now are playing winning baseball. So Yankees, Rays, don't count out the Blue Jays here right now. Vladdy, 2 hits, walk. Ernie Clement was on 5 times. 2 hits, 3 walks. And Andres Jimenez, hitting under 200, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, including a bases-loaded walk in this one. Brian Bale gave up single runs in each of the first 3 innings. Didn't give up another run the rest of the way. But I said on the postcast, this was not a quality start. 6 innings, 3 earned runs, but he was down 3-0 after the first 3 innings. It felt like 9-0. That just turned out to be the final.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Chris Bassett versus Lucas Giolito. It's going to be a fun one there. Talk about a fun one. The Astros and Cubs met in Houston for their series opener. We'll have more about that game next. Welcome back to MLB Game Night. Lindsey Crosby, Steve Lennox. And I want to hear from our guy, Sam Olber with Locked On Cubs, about the Houston 7-4 victory over Chicago.
Bad news is the Cubs got defeated by the Astros today, 7-3. The game was really never close. The good news is I enjoyed it with my partner, Matthew Cozy, his lovely wife, and his newborn child. This game was really not a fun one to watch, to be quite honest. Cade Horton wasn't very good. First real blow-up start, I would say, for Cade, where he just wasn't competitive. I thought his stuff looked pretty good early, but just no command. But to me, the big story in this game is the Chicago Cubs have a real problem. Add it to the list with starting pitching, a real problem against left-handed starters. They have been struggling. Matt and we're going to do some research this weekend and get some information on Sunday, what it's been the last, 8-9 times they faced a lefty starter. It's not competitive, and it's a real problem. They got to get it fixed. Cubs lose this game. Brewers winning. Cardinals won. Reds won. Not a great day at the ballpark. Hopefully better on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm trying to look real quick. The Cubs as a whole against lefties are batting .248, which they're second in baseball in homers against lefty starters, but batting average wise, that is 12th in the league. So a little bit of a struggle there. And that's obviously all lefties, not just lefty starters. That'll update on Baseball Reference tomorrow.
What I liked about this one was that Brandon Walter picked up his first big league victory, gave up just 1 run over 6 in the start for the Astros, who just keep winning. Season high 16 games over 500.
Yep, 5 in a row. They're 13-3 in their last 16. They just keep building starters. And they get Lance McCullers back tomorrow off the injured list for the start versus Colin Rea. All right, Mariners at Rangers. Mariners led this one 5-1 through 5.5. This thing went to 11 innings, but they won it 7-6. Let me get rid of Sam real quick. And I've got old friend Ty Dane Gonzalez from Locked On Mariners about their extra innings victory.
Albert wasn't good enough tonight, and the Mariners' offense with runners in scoring position was yikes, to say the least. However, they get pulled out of the fire by none other than Edward Bizzardo and Miles Mastrobuoni. Go figure. This is Ty Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast here. Mariners beat the Rangers 7-6 tonight in Arlington in 12 innings after blowing a 5-1 lead in the middle part of this game. I crashed out about a good 20 times over the course of this game, but whatever. Doesn't matter. M's get the dub at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. I cannot say enough good things about Edward Bizzardo, who was an absolute dog tonight, has been an absolute dog the entire month of June. 2 scoreless innings in extras, including the first of which where the Rangers had the automatic runner as the game-winning run, potential game-winning run. Bizzardo gets out of that inning thanks in large part to a magnificent game-saving catch by Miles Mastrobuoni, who then proceeds to drive in what proved to be the game-winning run in the top of the 12th. We actually got a Miles Mastrobuoni hero game. How about that? But yeah, Mastrobuoni and Bizzardo are the reason that you ultimately won this game tonight. We'll see if the M's can get the series win at some point this weekend, and we'll talk to you on the Locked On Mariners podcast afterwards. See you then. Peace.
You are never going to guess how many combined opportunities these teams had with runners in scoring position. It was 7 for 43 between these two teams with runners in scoring position. Like, he wasn't kidding when he was mad about that. 4 for 23 for the Mariners with runners in scoring position. I know that extras juices that a little bit, but my goodness.
Some of these numbers you just can't make up on a daily basis around baseball, and that's dreadful. Let's see what it is the rest of the series.
Yeah. The wild thing to me, by the way, is like Corey Seager, had a chance, popped it up, and just kind of a bad play there. Could have gotten it. All right. Giants at White Sox. Giants take the opener 3-1. The big thing for me, I always enjoy when a catcher gets a triple. Patrick Bailey hit a triple in this one, 2-run triple in the 6th. And then we talk about the starters. They just traded the starter to your Boston Red Sox, but Landon Rupp, 5 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 1 run. It was unearned. 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Camilo Duvall gets a scoreless 9th for his 13th save. This is going to be another, I think, sneaky good matchup tomorrow for pitching. Robbie Ray versus Adrian Hauser. I know the name Adrian Hauser isn't too exciting. 2.27 ERA. Robbie Ray, 8-2, 283. Good matchup.
Yeah, and there got to be there got to be teams around baseball saying, why didn't we take a flyer on Adrian Hauser? And he ends up with the White Sox in that sense. I don't know if they can spin him for something, but he's pitching well right now. So you want him to pitch well, maybe for a team that's, on the cusp of thinking at least they're, buyers and not sellers at the deadline.
Yeah. All right, let's rapid fire a couple real quick. Rockies at Brewers. Brewers had 6 runs in the 4th. They win this one 10-6. Jackson Chourio was the hero here. 13th home run, 3-run shot in that 6-run 4th inning. Had another RBI came up in the 8th. And flip side of this here, Thairo Estrada. Took a while for him to get healthy with the Rockies, but 3 hits, 2 RBI. Braxton Fulford, 3 hits, 2 doubles, 3 RBI himself. But the Brewers are now 10 games over 500 and quietly might be a wagon. When they score 4 or more runs, they're 39-9.
Yeah, I'm really starting to like Pat Murphy. I've got a couple of friends that have been with him in prior stops, and they speak glowingly of him. And I just feel like there's some old school in there where it's like you're called upon to bunt, get the bunt down, move the runner over, do the little things. And I think the Brewers do that, and they're a fun team to watch. So again, won the division last year, so you can't sleep on them.
Speed and defense. I love those kind of guys. All right. Nationals, Angels. Nationals won this 15-9. 7 different Nationals hitters had multi-hit games. CJ Abrams has 3 hits. Luis Garcia has 3 hits. Nate Lowe has 3 hits. Josh Bell has a homer, 3 RBI, 3 runs scored. And this is something where Jake Irvin was not very good. 8 earned runs, 9 runs on 4 1/3. Neither starting pitcher was. Jose Soriano was 8 earned on 9 hits in 4 innings. You got homers from Taylor Ward and Joe Adell and Nolan Shonwell. But this will be an interesting matchup tomorrow of names. This has been super exciting in 2017. Michael Soroka versus Kyle Hendricks. That's like a 2019 matchup that would have been really exciting, right?
Yeah, Angels a game under 500 with that loss, and they got the home run ball, but they did not get the starting pitching at all from Jose Soriano. So you want to wrap Marlins Diamondbacks?
Go for it.
With the red hot, I could say, Marlins. They've won 5 in a row overall, 7 straight on the road as they get 2 in the 9th inning. Diamondbacks got 3 in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Marlins do hold on for the 9-8 victory. We mentioned an Otto for the second time on MLB Game Night here. Otto Lopez, 3 hits, home run, 3 RBIs, 2-run home run in the 9th inning. That proved to be big, Lindsay, because as we looked at, Diamondbacks had the potential tying run at third base. They had first and third, 1 out in the bottom half of the 9th inning, could not come through.
Yeah, Tim Tawa grounded into double play. Always kind of frustrating there, but Marlins take that in the desert. All right, final thoughts on the day that was from Steve Lennox.
Sonny Gray, tip of the cap. Nick Martinez, you were right there. But Sonny Gray finished what he started.
Love to see the 35-year-old guys. Makes me feel not as old when the 35-year-olds are the ones that are dominating. For Steve Lennox, I'm Lindsey Crosby. This has been MLB Game Night.